Hey, welcome back to the channel, YouTube family. We are back with another SAFEMOON video. I took a little break from making videos to kind of let V2 shake out and see where the price was going to stabilize at. So hopefully now we can get a better read on the price analysis chart. As always, guys, I hope you had a great holiday. I hope you have a great new year. If you do enjoy this video, please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already and go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. I definitely suspect there to be a lot more content on the channel once the new year gets through and we're able to get back into that steady rhythm. Okay, guys, there still seems to be a little bit of confusion on some of these websites between V1 and V2 and some of the price analysis. So I wanted to bring that up in this video because obviously we're not going to have a lot of data to reflect off of as far as V2 goes. We're really going to look at a flat line, and it's really going to be hard to have a lot of peaks and a lot of lows as far as support and resistance goes. What I wanted to show you guys is that FX Street is still showing the V1 prices, and they're putting out articles like this, and I was actually really kind of surprised. SAFEMOON investors will not enjoy the Christmas party. So I'm like, wait a minute, what are they talking about? Are they meaning, is there something going on with actual SAFEMOON with the swap? Is there some kind of negative news? I really want to know, what are they talking about? I scroll down and I'm looking through all this and they start pulling up charts. So I'm like, oh, okay, here we go, charts. This is something that I know what they're talking about. I can see and understand the trend lines and what we're looking at as far as ascending, descending, triangles, etc. So they bring up data that is actually from V1, and this is as of December 23rd, 2021. Well, it's showing the V1 price. So I'm kind of confused why we're still seeing volume in V1 prices on these websites. Do they still think that this is relevant? I assume that since you can still buy V1, that they really don't take the V2 into account when they come up with these charts. Now, I understand that you're not going to have as much information to put out there. You're not going to have articles. You're not going to have a lot of videos that you can post constantly, which is why, honestly, my video really doesn't have a lot of data on the price analysis because we've only been in V2 for a few weeks. That changed everything up. Now, we can look at volume, obviously. We can look at the folks that have swapped over, what has happened to the price since the swap. But trying to use these past data figures on V1 versus V2, they're two different things. We swapped. We moved over. It wasn't just a name change. So I'm just kind of confused as to why folks like this, and they're not the only ones. I'm not trying to run down FX Street. I've actually used their website several times for data, and they've been really good. And a chart like this, what you're seeing on the screen right now, is actually really helpful, and it's kind of the stuff that I do. But this isn't really relevant because the price they're showing right here is not the V2 price, as we'll see shortly. So here we are on marketcap.com. I want to show you right now the V2 chart, which is exactly what we expect. It's been very flat. We haven't had a lot of fluctuations, but we can still look at it and find a floor. But what I wanted to also let you know before we dig into that is that they also have a site where you can go back and look at V1. That compares and contrasts to the Bit Screener, the FX Street, and all those other guys that are trying to show us those charts. So if you're still interested in purchasing V1, paying gas fees to rotate that from BNB to V1, and then gas fees to rotate from V1 to V2, then by all means be my guest. You're paying a lot of gas fees. I don't know why you would still want to be looking at those charts. And honestly, since December 24th, the tax fees have actually gone up. We're trying to get people on V2. I understand there was a lot of controversy between maybe I'll just sit here and collect these more reflections on V1 until the last day. There's been a lot of back and forth on that. Honestly, I haven't been buying V1, so I can't sit here and say concrete which has been better. I only bought V2 since it came out. But having said all of that, if you want to check and go do your own price analysis, please make sure you're still looking at V2 only. Unless for some weird reason you just want to go look at charts which really have no meaning whatsoever on V1. Okay guys, so the chart that you're looking right now is the monthly on V2. Now, you're obviously going to see a very flat line between the 2-0 mark, which we almost had there, and then the lows, which we saw around the 15 mark. You guys know that we lost a couple zeros, so that's why we're not looking at 50.15 anymore, 50.20, 30. So this is where we're at. We're looking at a very flat line, and we're trying to find a support, and we're trying to find a resistance when it comes to buying. And, you know, I wouldn't sell, but I mean, if you're looking at a high point to where you want to wait for it to come back down before you add to your position, that's really what we're about in these videos. So right now, as of when I'm recording this video, we're sitting at around 17, which is a little bit above where the actual support line has been. Now, we can draw support here, and then we can draw resistance, which would be probably around 18.5. We've had a few touches right here, and then if you go back across, you're going to see some peaks that go across that, but, you know, we don't count these glitches right here. None of that actually matters. Those aren't real prices. That would probably be my really high ceiling. That's going to be the resistance. Now, what that means is if you see a move above, let's say we set 18.5 as our resistance, if we see a move above 18.5 and then it stays above there for several sessions, let's say a day or two, it comes back down to 18.5 and then continues to move higher. That resistance actually becomes support. So then we'll know that we have formed a new low, and then, you know, that may be our new add position place instead of waiting for it to come down to 15, where that place would be the, you know, where we want to actually add to our position if we're looking to buy more SAFEMOON. So I want to keep this video short and sweet, you guys. I just wanted to throw these two things out there. Number one is V2 right now is very horizontal. What that means is there's not really a lot of fluctuation, so there's not a lot of crazy news coming out, obviously, probably for the next few weeks as we still roll through the holidays. The second is, if you're going to look up price analysis, make sure that the people that you're following are actually differentiating between V1 and V2. If you're buying V1, then sure, go look at it. Obviously, it's going to be non-relevant here in a few months, maybe even less than that. But, you know, just know the difference. That way you're not being deceived as far as, you know, the levels are dropping, SAFEMOON is tanking, blah, blah, blah. Thanks, you guys, for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll have a lot more news, SAFEMOON related, crypto related, going into the new year. I hope you have a wonderful new year.